So today we have another SHPE meeting. It's actually going to be elections for next year's executive board. Bittersweet. I won't be running this year, but definitely excited to see the people running for the board next year and also to hear their speeches. So heading over to Google right now where the meeting will be held at.
We started off with the network professional event. It was networking like a professional. And then I'll go ahead and just scroll down. I bolded the ones that this year was the first time we did, or is like a new partnership with a new company this year.
I graduated from Cal Poly SLO June of last
Cal
year.
Poly.
I hold a degree in computer engineering, and now I work at Macy's.com as a software developer. So as webmaster, I guess I plan to maintain the current website. Luis did a good job redesigning it, so I guess the plan now is to maybe run some analytics or something like that and figure out how we can drive more traffic to the site or maybe expand it in some way. And I guess another goal is to incorporate some sort of online platform for us to communicate and collaborate better. It could be something as simple as maybe a group me chat, or I'm thinking more like a Slack group where we can have different channels for different things, like if we have job opportunities or if we want to just casually schedule a hangout or something like that. Yeah, that's all I got. Thanks.
I started my first job working at Boeing, and then I moved pretty much, through the ladder and started getting different positions. But I mainly have worked in structural composites. I worked in teams, large teams, small teams, all types of stuff. Working on different research and development programs. My current job right now is in Hexel, and pretty much what I do is I coordinate work, new programs. I support customers on anything dealing with manufacturing of composites. I am very passionate about SHPE, and I'm very passionate about all the stuff that we all do here. And I really don't have quite like a speech, but I wrote something that came to my heart, and I feel, hey, why not share it, right? So here it is.
Don't cry,
I'm
don't
not
cry,
running
don't cry.
against anybody. I think, so
Okay, there's another red ink slot, so you never know.
It's called allow me please.
You printed out Comic Sans?
It's called SHPE is Hope. So here it goes. I can describe SHPE with one word: hope. Hope to a better future is what my mother felt when she brought my brother and I to this country. Hope made me dream to become an engineer. We all had that dream. College was a challenge, and it made me question, do I belong here? I joined SHPE as a college student. I met people with the same goals as mine. SHPE opened the door to something new to me. Yes, I do belong here. That's what I told myself. It opened the door to opportunities. SHPE gave me hope. My dreams became reality as I obtained my first internship through the SHPE conference. I opened the door to a future filled with a career that became my passion. 11 years after I joined SHPE, here I stand, a professional preaching on behalf of SHPE. We reach out to our community and we bring something very important. We bring hope. SHPE gives us this opportunity. It's our turn to give back and jumpstart that spark. With a little hope, that spark will turn into interest, and that interest into passion. That is why I continue to be part of this organization. I want to bring hope to our community. I am hope, we are SHPE. Thank you.
Damn. Deep.
Again, my name is Javier Reyes. Most of you can see, I'm from the East Bay. I was actually born in a small town called Oakley, which is not Oakland, but a little bit farther east. Graduated from St. Mary's. I double majored in economics as well as business finance because I'm indecisive. Maybe I was meant to be in engineering. I don't know. Now I'm starting to realize my passion. Hanging out with other engineers, but kind of going back to the whole speech about hope. I mean, it's true. I mean, I think what brings us all together is that we've had a lot of factors against us that said that we couldn't or that we can't. A lot of us here are first-generation immigrants, including myself, or your children will be first-generation immigrants. And so, how do we set that path straight for them? St. Mary's is a predominantly Caucasian school. It was. That's what it was. I came from the community college. Nobody I went to school with in high school went to college. So I had like one other guy in my group of friends. And so I really kind of did pave my own way in the fact that I was alone. And so kind of meeting you guys has really introduced me to a whole new world, a whole other side of professionals or Latinos, which I didn't really see, and it's something that I've been really looking for. And so even though I'm not an engineer, and I've joked around with the card and I said, hey, I'm a social engineer. You know what I do for work is I do financial planning and financial advising. So I try to help people save money, and it's basically what I do. And it's how do we stick together to create a more powerful demographic among a minority that's traditionally not empowered? As a community outreach coordinator, I mean, in my job, it is somewhat salesy, and so it's kind of forced me to be fearless and go out and reach out to people. I mean, it's kind of how I reached out to Maricela, and if you remember that, I mean, it's a total cold call. I was like, hey, I want to hang out with you guys. As embarrassing as that sounds, but so I guess in that respect, I could help you guys out as a community outreach coordinator, but by no means am I here to create any ripples or waves or break the status quo. You'll see me again then. We continue.
I went to Sac State. I studied civil engineering. Fun fact, I've been a SHPE member since 2002. SHPE Nationals. No longer there. I was applying for National. But anyways, so, I mean, in college I was kind of active, but, I was just an active member. But as a professional, I've been pretty much on boards, and this is the first year I wasn't on a board because I started being outreach coordinator for Sacramento Professional Chapter, then jumped on to be secretary for 2 years, and then it was VP for 3 years. So, I kind of got used to kind of the way that the boards run, and from that, I know that the key thing to making any type of position the board work is collaboration with others. And whenever we all have busy lives, right? So sometimes you just can't meet your deadline. And that's when you kind of nudge someone else, like, hey, help me out with this part. I got 70% of it done. All right, I'll take the rest. And one thing I noticed too from when I was outreach coordinator is that, a lot of times it's hard to get a big group of people to show up for an event, even though you put like 40 hours of work and all of a sudden you get like 15 or 20 people to show up. What I have noticed is that regardless of the amount of people that show up, as long as you have a group of engaged students or just people in the community that are interested or just curious about what we do, that's all that really matters, because you just need like 1 or 2 people to be interested in the subject matter, and that can have a ripple effect to like their nephews, their nieces, their godsons, to like maybe be interested in like STEM, or one of the peripheral careers opportunities that STEM provides. So I just want to focus more on that, lean on the resources we already have in the community, and just kind of leverage that to find more opportunities or even more smaller group engagements where, you just have kids that are interested in only mechanical engineering. Well, you need just one professional to show up, With one professional, it's more than enough, and then you can be a group of 5 kids, It doesn't have to be a big thing. And luckily, because of my weird career, like I've gotten to know a lot of people in different industries, so I know plenty of people that are now teaching or are in faculty positions in the Bay Area, so maybe I can try to use that more to just have in classroom, meet a professional, and not a whole after school thing. But maybe we can go like, just after school, only a small group of kids that just were curious or they see potential in them, and just try to do smaller events like that, sprinkle throughout the year. That's kind of my idea. So, anyways, that's it.
And a minor in mathematics. I've been officially an active member of SHPE since 2011, when I decided to give RLDC committee a try. So I have a lot of leadership skills in not just managing large groups of volunteers, but social events like the end of the year gala at Sac State, I've also done a variety of social events as well as case studies for members. And as former vice president of the Sacramento State chapter, my main focus was to create and continue the familia aspect of SHPE. Seeing as I was not an engineering major when I joined SHPE, and SHPE kind of led me in that direction, I found a group of people that I could really connect with, and I had the same goals and aspirations as them, and that's what I want to bring to this chapter and keep that going. So by creating those social events when we can forget about our work life, our personal life, and just hang out, that's going to be my main focus. Bring what the members want to the chapter and keep that familia feeling going.
I've been a part of SHPE since 2009, but a part of this chapter since 2013. The first thing I did was community outreach coordinator. So I started our annual Dia de Ciencias, which Jorge said that we just did our third one. So that was like my legacy for that. And then I continued on with treasurer because I felt there was some things that in our chapter that has always been our chapter's goal, but no one actually took it on. So that's why I decided to do treasurer for the past 2 years. So the first thing I did was to get our EIN number, which was basically recognizes our club as a nonprofit for banking purposes. So we were able to change where our funds were currently located in the bank. So it makes it easier for our funds to be transferred from our old board to our new one. And I also did my first year I did some grant writing, so we were able to get funding for our chapter. And then the second year I ran, I decided to focus more on our 501c3 status. So that one's been a bit harder because it's a bit of a process. You have to work with the IRS, with some lawyers. So that's what I did. So I want to continue with that goal for us to actually get that status. So we weren't able to get it this year because we decided to rewrite our bylaws. So in order to submit our application to become a 501c3, we need to be able to have our bylaws and our finances in order. So since that currently is in the status of our national approving it, I'm waiting for that and then continue on with that. So I'm hoping by the end of, if you guys pick me to be your treasurer, hopefully I can continue on with that process. And of course, during that, I also was doing the whole tracking and our expenses and income and making sure our officers get their money back. Because before, people were submitting their reimbursement forms, but they were waiting like months before they got their money back. So I made sure that we get your money back within like a week. So, but yeah, so if you guys decide to pick me, continue on, kind of cool. And my brother wanted me to add this one point, because I'm like, you might be thinking, why would I pick an engineer to run our finances versus a finance person to do our finances? But think about it. Who caused the recession? An engineer or a finance person?
I found out I got nominated for this a couple days ago. No, but you know what? I said, yeah, I'll give it a try, see how this goes. So here's the one thing that I could see how I can help SHPE. I was trying to help out. So there's one thing he mentioned, Ricardo mentioned bridge, and that was something that I was thinking about last night. Focusing back on when I was an undergrad, it was really hard sometimes to get out of that shell. Sometimes it's easy for some of us, and sometimes it's hard. For me, it tends to be easy most of the time, but there's times when it's not. So what I hope to bring to the table is pretty much try to connect the people who are just trying to get out of college, who's just graduating, and trying to connect them with people who are at the professional level. What has happened to me in the past is, or the good things that happened to me to get jobs has not always been my GPA. That was one thing that I was never the best. I was never the best in GPA. But when the strengths were, and have been always been, how to approach people who are professionals and connect with them. And so that's what I want to bring to the table. How to connect with professionals who I can relate, how to connect them to the people who are coming, graduating and becoming alumni, and connect them to their respective fields. So that's what I hope to bring to the table. That's my small speech. Thanks.
I became involved with SHPE at the beginning of last year through Erin. And I went to my first event and I found it very valuable because it was my first year out of college, and it was right around the time when I was gonna have my first yearly review, and that's what that meeting was about, how to approach your yearly review. And I saw like it could offer me a lot of value. And then from other events that I attended, I also saw how SHPE, reaches out to the community and to these young kids who are trying to become involved in a field that is usually not very typical of our community. So I really like those two concepts. Because I really like those two concepts, I decided to run as vice president. So over the past year, since I'm very new to SHPE, I kind of spent it learning how the chapter operates. I also went to NILA, which is the National Leadership Conference, and just learned more about like SHPE in general at the national level. So I would like to continue this job for the next year. I think that now that I have more of an understanding of how SHPE works, I can continue to expand the work that I've been doing this year. And yeah, I mean, I'm just like excited to help. I think if we can make the operations of the club a little bit more smooth, we have potential to even grow the value for our membership more, as well as reach out to even more larger groups of students. Thank you.
I'm Pimentel, and for those of you who don't know me, I was a VP of Educational Development for the SHPE Silicon Valley chapter. Prior to that, I was the VP of Community Outreach, and I love SHPE. I love its openness, its inclusiveness, and its encouragement to boldness. And I was gonna do a rap thing, but I was like, nah. Because I was gonna get even more red, and no. So anyway, I'm just gonna go straight to being a little bit more professional.
I got my reggaeton thing going on.
So anyway, I've been part of the SHPE Familia since 2009, and I've been a board member since 2010. And I've loved SHPE, right? For the reason that it empowers Latinos and that it provided a community for me when I was about to opt out of engineering. And so I just loved what the ripple effect that we have on the community, on our students and our professionals. And so coming into the SHPE organization as a professional, I was like, well, I moved to San Jose and I was like, this team is strong. But once I got in there, I was like, it could be stronger. And I realized that they didn't do the NRPs, and I thought, they do great work, and it's not to not be humble, but we should get recognized for that work. And so I pushed for it, and we didn't get it recognized the first year, but we persevered, and the second year we did get recognized for it. And the awesome thing about it that I didn't expect out of it was that it aligned all our mission, because it was a bit skewed towards professionalism, which is fantastic. But we were kind of ignoring our students, and we were kind of ignoring our community. And so by doing the NRP, it's expected to do all of these other events and to bring everyone together and have more of a holistic effect on the community, whether it's the community itself or the community of students or professionals. So I tell you this story because I want you to kind of get that I came in to a strong organization and found something that could be improved, and kind of took a risk and said, you know what, this is what we need to do to be a better, stronger chapter. And now we are. Well, at least now that I've left them. And I'm not saying that I personally did that, but it was something that I felt I could do now being part of the board. Here, I know that this is already a very strong chapter, and you guys have awesome members, and the fact that you have so many members to take care of different areas, whereas we didn't, we had like 4. So I bring the mindset of efficiency and optimization, but Liz does that very well. So I think the only differentiator for me is a fresh perspective, that I haven't been part of this board. And yes, there will be this learning curve for me, but I'm willing to take on this challenge like head on, and if you're willing to invest in me and trust me, yeah, so that's all I got.
So yeah, I just want to, I learned about the opportunity
Marisela kind of like gave me a hint some months ago. And I really thought about it. I know it's big responsibility. I mean, it's like we have, you know, such a big reputation, national, regional, and I feel like it was like a lot of pressure. I thought about it. I, you know, talked with mentors, my family, and I'm like, I think it's like something that it's about time that I kind of like do that step, right? Because it's a big role, it's a lot of responsibility, and you know, previous president, you know, Marcela and Jimmy, that's like big shoes to fill. So I mean, that's not to put any pressure to myself. But yeah, so yeah, so that's why I'm here and looking forward to it. Professionally, well, I know that just a couple of months ago started as a project engineer at Bayer Pharmaceuticals in Berkeley. Prior to that, I was working at Genentech, biotech firm in South City, and before that, I worked at NAFC. So when I used to live in the East Coast. In my people that might not have been here, like they're like been here for like a couple of years. Some terms ago, I was secretary of our chapter, and during this time, it's when I think it's when we started doing minutes for the meetings for in telecom. So I was kind of like, it's like the first step when I started the Google Drive. I'm pretty sure is now perfected. We started that because that way it was great to track the agenda. We get the action items, what time we start, people that were actually call in and all that. So I was involved doing kind of like the starting version of that. I also I helped Leticia during the Noche de Ciencias. I was part of making a presentation for having the parents of potential students know the entire college application process. We all know it's hard, you know, the grants, if you're depending on your status that you have and all that. So we managed to get somebody from Deanwood City College to kind of like help talk about the parents in bilingual, because those cases like, they're not 100% in English speaking. So I was managed to do that as a secretary. That's kind of like, I'm not gonna talk about everything I did. I was the only thing. So during my senior year in college, at the Polytechnic University of Puerto Rico, where I studied mechanical engineering. So I was the VP, vice president of my student chapter, specifically for external affairs, things that included potential sponsors that we have for future events that we have. In case we had an event and somebody came by and we kind of like coordinate or what was going to be talked about, set it up, the room and all these things so that person can project and have space like the one that we have here today. So also during that time, you know, Puerto Rico's small, so there's 4 student chapters. So we actually met with each a couple of times to kind of like help each other, strategies that we might, you know, we're not competing against each other, kind of like, you know, we're doing this for members, so maybe some chapter doing something better, we can learn, we can share ideas. So during that time, an idea developed that we should actually have a conference for all, like combined for all the chapters. We actually did that. We organized a conference for students, for a leadership conference, and I was part of that committee to organize, sponsor, to get a place, to get members to go in, and all that. So that really helped out on my planning, we can say, like event planning thing. So kind of like that background, I feel like I can definitely serve you guys as a great president. You know, we have great potential, and this, I mean, every year it's like we outdo each other, I can say, as a board. So with that, you know, I feel if I can perform this as a great level to serve our best interest for our members and our community. So I'm really, you know, the last years I feel like being able to be, you know, taking advantage of the great companies in the city, right? There's a big community of Latinos in the city doing great things. And we have people in good tech companies. We have organizations that are doing a profit. We have educators that In the last years, I made a lot of connections with them, and I plan to kind of like use them and reach out because we can do so many collaborative events. Not only us SHPE, but there's a lot of things that we can actually go and search for it. So I think that I will bring that to the table, and I will always have an open door policy to our board, to our members. Always be able to have an open doors. If somebody from members, not only a board member, wants to, hey, I have this idea. Can I like talk with you guys? I'm like, of course. So I want to also hold that for our future members. So it's a position that requires a lot of time and energy. Luckily, I'm not married. Luckily, I don't have kids. And I have a girlfriend that also takes a lot of time. So I definitely have the time that this role requires. So with that, it's my closing remarks. So thank you, and I'm here to serve you, and hopefully you can my reggaeton. Si tú quieres presidente, dale.
Rivera, or some of you call me Manny. And I'm running for SHPE president this year. I currently work for Muni here in the city. I live and work in the city. And as for SHPE, I'm the current student outreach coordinator. And last year I was the community outreach coordinator. And like many of you, I'm passionate about SHPE, and specifically I'm passionate about what we do here at SHPE SFBA. And I believe with my energy, my enthusiasm, my experience being on the board these past 2 years, the connections I've made with professionals and the students make me a great candidate for being president. And I've learned that being on this board, we don't just follow protocols, and it's not something you do just because of your title. You have to be, I would say, a strong leader and have that commitment to the members, the students, and the community. And for past experiences, I've coordinated the Dia de Ciencias, Noche de Ciencias with Exploratorium, which is one of our bigger events, and Richmond High School. I actually have gone to Dia de Ciencias by myself, and not because the board, we dropped the ball or anything like that, but actually because the organizer from the Exploratorium felt that her events were a little too small and insignificant to invite SHPE and have mentors out or volunteers out there. But I went there myself anyways to show that we are committed to them and we are committed to the community. I've also done breakfast with engineers and engineering panels with Napa Valley all the way up north, an hour and a half, and all the way to Santa Cruz. And even some of those students show, that hey, it's kind of far. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. But hey, we're SHPE. SHPE SFBA is here for you, and that's what we're gonna do. And I've also attended SHPE NILA, which is a conference for, I believe, just board members. And there I received training for leadership, networking, how to deal with different obstacles that come as being part of the board, and also SHPE National Conference, where we do different panels, you do different workshops, things like that. Oh, and also the last thing, which is the most fun I've had this year I currently manage the SHPE SFBA mentorship program, and I think we have 7 or 8 mentors and mentees. So that's been going really well this year, and I hope to continue it next year. I hope that I can help SHPE SFBA continue to succeed and continue to be a recognized leader within the SHPE familia. So vote for me.